Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, your source for Second Amendment news. Quick shout out again to Blackout Coffee. Thanks for being a supporter of the channel. It's times like this where the news doesn't stop and work doesn't stop that this helps me get through. If you want coffee delivered right to your house, small batch, they support veterans. They send coffee overseas to those men and women defending our freedoms. Check out Blackout Coffee. Link is in the description. You make a purchase, they support the channel, so it's a two-way win. It's a win-win for everybody. They support America, they support the Second Amendment, they support Guns and Gadgets, so check them out. So let's move on with today's news. Today, as you should be aware, if you weren't, you don't watch this channel, today was Lindsey Graham's hearing on the red flag. That's right, the Senate Judiciary Committee took up the Extreme Risk Protection Order. It was Lindsey Graham sitting right next to Dianne Feinstein, two real good friends of the Second Amendment, and they had a meeting to discuss the benefit of the red flag. I will not pull the wool over your eyes. This was not a good meeting. I'll show you a quick clip here of how the meeting opened from Senator Graham, and I'll tell you about what a couple people said, but this is not good at all. It looks like, well, we kind of knew it anyway. Slam dunk case, it's coming. The vote's going to be coming soon. So look forward to a red flag bribery program coming out of Congress for each state here. So check out what Lindsey Graham said.
This hearing today is to examine red flag laws. For lack of a better term, we're trying to identify people in our communities that are exhibiting pretty extreme behavior in terms of mental health issues, where they become a danger to themselves and others, and allow law enforcement and sometimes family members to go to a court to say this person needs some help and we need to stop violence before it occurs. There will be a robust due process component. We'll have a witness to talk about the kind of due process you need to make such a determination. There are 15 states that have a form of this. And one of the reasons we're having this hearing is because of Senator Blumenthal. There are a lot of people may be worried, is the government going to come take your guns? And the answer is no. Nobody's going to come and take a gun from you. But there will be a process for law enforcement and family members to petition a court to say that somebody in your neighborhood or somebody down the street or across town is about to blow. So I'm a big fan of the Second Amendment. I own firearms, and I try to be responsible in my ownership. But at the same time, every right has limits. We're trying to balance the right to own a gun under the Second Amendment with mental health issues that are far too prevalent in society, and we do not have enough capability to deal with the problem. And my hope is that what we will do up here in Washington is, I think passing a federal law is probably beyond what the market will bear, but create an incentive at the federal level for states who want to go down this road, making sure that the laws are meaningful and that there's due process for the people who may be on in the court situation, but try to give a nod to the states that this is working in some states. Come up with an idea that's unique to your state, and if you do it in a certain way, the federal government will incentivize you, and I think that's the best way, at least initially, to solve this problem.
So they had a couple people testify, some people from Parkland, some people from all over. Most of the people were against our Second Amendment, basically. They were for this red flag gun confiscation. That's all it is. It's an illegal gun confiscation. And there was even a Dave Koppel, who was a research director of the Independence Institute and a gun right advocate. And he said, we shouldn't just depend on law enforcement all on its own, because right now the way most of the bills are, it's either a family member or the cops who can petition a judge for a red flag or extreme risk protection order. And believe me when I tell you, there isn't a judge in the country that's going to be that guy who says, or that girl who says, no, you can't have this red flag, and then, heaven forbid that kid or that guy or that woman, the subject of that red flag, does something. But this Dave Koppel also said that without good due process, this could be abused. It is being abused already, and they say there's due process. There is no way you can take an action first and take a civil right and then have due process follow. That's not how it operates. It's not the way due process is. Due process is you need to prove somebody's guilt beyond reasonable doubt prior to taking a sanction against them. It's just not the way it happens, guys and gals. So next was one of the people who spoke was Dianne Feinstein, and she started talking about the Parkland thing and Nicholas Cruz and blah blah blah, all the red flags that were there for him, and how law enforcement dealt with him numerous times. The FBI got tips, the hospitals dealt with him, blah blah blah. Nothing was done. So instead of working on the processes that already exist, or making sure that each step in that process does their part, you don't need to like create new ways of just seizing people's rights. But anyway, she continued, and she said that she noted that San Diego has confiscated 318 firearms already, including several automatic weapons, but she doesn't know what an automatic weapon is, so that's probably a semi-automatic. And that was under California's red flag law, because she's a senator from California. She also expressed her regret that Congress hasn't acted to prevent gun violence until this point in time, and she even went as far to say that she thought that Congress would act after Sandy Hook. So, are they just creating incidents so that Congress would act? So Lindsey Graham even went out and said, nobody's coming to take your guns. The government's not coming to take your guns, which is a lie. It's an absolute lie, folks. But when he closed out the meeting, this is the quote that he said. I am far more enlightened than I was before, adding that he hoped Congress would be able to come to a bipartisan agreement to help implement red flag laws in states. He also said, quote, I really can't see a reason why we can't pursue this at the federal level, to incentivize states. That means to bribe states, to give them money to have a red flag law passed. That's what the government's looking to do, bribe states to get a red flag law in place. Now, don't forget, there's two bills right now in Congress. There's the Graham-Blumenthal version of the red flag, and there's the Marco Rubio version of the red flag bill currently in the Senate looking to get votes to pass. That's basically, in a nutshell, what happened at today's hearing. Yeah, there was some outbursts from Moms Demand Action yahoos. They interrupted Ted Cruz when he spoke, blah, 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 blah. Stay tuned here. You know I will have all of the updates on this channel, Guns and Gadgets on YouTube. You can also follow me on other avenues of social media. Links are in every description of every video. Please subscribe and hit that bell if you haven't already. This is where you're going to get the news, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, on Guns and Gadgets. Until we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, and carry your weapon. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Blackout Coffee.